Tony Stark, genius inventor and billionaire playboy, never expected to be a prisoner of war. His life was a whirlwind of high-tech innovations, glamorous parties, and cutting-edge research. Stark Industries was at the forefront of technological advancements, and Tony was its charismatic face. He was a man who seemed to have it all: wealth, fame, and a brilliant mind that could turn science fiction into reality. His life of luxury and technological innovation seemed a world away as he languished in a cave in the middle of a war-torn desert. The stark contrast between his opulent lifestyle and the harsh reality of his captivity was a jarring wake-up call. The cave was cold, dark, and unforgiving, a far cry from the sleek, modern labs he was used to. It was in this desolate place that Tony Stark faced the most significant challenge of his life. Shrapnel pierced his chest, threatening his life with each beat of his weakened heart. The pain was excruciating, a constant reminder of his mortality. Makeshift medical equipment and rudimentary tools were all he had to keep himself alive. Each day was a battle against the clock as the shrapnel inched closer to his heart. It was a race against time, and Tony knew that his survival depended on his ingenuity and willpower. His captors, members of a terrorist group called the 10 Rings, demanded he build them a weapon. They saw him as nothing more than a tool to further their destructive agenda. The pressure was immense, and the stakes were life and death. Tony was faced with an impossible choice: comply and contribute to their reign of terror, or resist and risk certain death. It was a moral dilemma that weighed heavily on his conscience. Instead, Stark, with the help of fellow captive Ho Yinsen, created something far more powerful: the first Iron Man suit. Yinsen, a brilliant scientist in his own right, became Tony's ally and confidant. Together, they devised a plan to turn the tables on their captors. The cave became their workshop, and every scrap of metal and piece of machinery was repurposed for their secret project. It was a testament to human ingenuity and the unbreakable spirit of collaboration. This suit, a crude but effective blend of technological ingenuity and sheer will to survive, was more than just metal. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of defiance against tyranny. The suit's design was rudimentary, but its purpose was clear: to protect and empower. Each weld, each circuit, and each piece of armor was a step closer to freedom. The suit was a manifestation of Tony's determination to reclaim his life and his legacy. It was a symbol of Stark's resilience, his refusal to bow to despair. Despite the dire circumstances, Tony's spirit remained unbroken. He worked tirelessly, driven by a newfound sense of purpose. The cave, once a prison, became a crucible where Tony's true character was forged. His determination was unwavering, and his resolve was unshakable. He was no longer just a captive. He was a creator, a visionary who refused to be defined by his circumstances. The Iron Man suit was a lifeline in the darkest hour, a testament to the power of human invention even in the face of unimaginable adversity. When Tony donned the suit for the first time, it was a moment of triumph. The suit's glowing arc reactor was a beacon of hope, illuminating the path to freedom. Testing the suit was a perilous endeavor, but each successful trial brought Tony closer to his goal. It was a journey of self-discovery and transformation. With it, Stark escaped captivity, carrying the weight of his experience and the knowledge that the world was a far more dangerous place than he had ever imagined. The escape was a harrowing ordeal, fraught with danger at every turn. As he soared above the desert, Tony felt a mix of relief and resolve. He had survived, but he knew that his journey was far from over. The world outside the cave was fraught with new challenges and responsibilities. The escape was just the beginning. It marked the start of a new chapter in Tony's life, one defined by purpose and responsibility. The experience had changed him profoundly, stripping away the layers of arrogance and self-absorption. He was no longer the carefree playboy. He was a man on a mission. The weight of his experiences pressed heavily on his shoulders, but it also fueled his determination to make a difference. The experience fundamentally changed Tony Stark. It stripped away the layers of arrogance and self-absorption, revealing a man wrestling with his own mortality and the responsibility his inventions carried. He became introspective, questioning the impact of his work and the legacy he wanted to leave behind. The cave had been a crucible, and Tony emerged from it with a renewed sense of purpose. He was determined to use his genius for the greater good. It stripped away the layers of arrogance and self-absorption, revealing a man wrestling with his own mortality and the responsibility his inventions carried. He became more empathetic, more aware of the consequences of his actions. Tony's interactions with others became more meaningful as he sought to make amends for past mistakes. The experience had humbled him, but it had also empowered him to strive for a better future. The world saw the birth of Iron Man, but it also witnessed the rebirth of Tony Stark, a man forever marked by the crucible of captivity and driven to use his gifts for a greater purpose. Iron Man became a symbol of hope and justice, a beacon of light in a world filled with darkness. Tony's journey from captive to creator was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of adversity. It was a story of redemption, of a man who found his true calling in the most unlikely of places. To understand Tony Stark, one must understand the shadow cast by his father, Howard Stark. A visionary inventor and industrialist, Howard built Stark Industries into a global powerhouse, a titan of technological innovation. His legacy was both a blessing and a burden for young Tony, a constant reminder of the brilliance he was expected to live up to. Howard's influence was profound, shaping Tony's childhood and fueling his passion for science and engineering. Yet, their relationship was complex, marked by a distant father too consumed by his work to provide the emotional connection Tony craved. This left a void in Tony's life, a yearning for approval that manifested in recklessness and a need to prove himself. Howard's shadow loomed large even after his death, his presence felt in the very fabric of Stark Industries and the expectations placed upon Tony's shoulders. It was a legacy of brilliance and innovation, but also one tinged with a cold, calculating edge that Tony both inherited and rebelled against. The challenge for Tony became to step out from behind that shadow, to forge his own path while grappling with the weight of the Stark name and the world his father had built. Stark Industries, a titan of industry and innovation, became both Tony's birthright and his burden. Founded by his father, Howard Stark, the company was synonymous with cutting-edge technology and groundbreaking advancements. From weapons manufacturing to clean energy solutions, Stark Industries had its hands in many pivotal sectors, making it a cornerstone of modern industry. As the sole heir to his father's empire, Tony inherited not just a fortune, but a legacy that would define much of his life. The shadow of his father's achievements loomed large, and with it came the expectation to not only match but surpass those accomplishments. This legacy was a double-edged sword, offering both immense opportunity and overwhelming pressure. The weight of expectation was immense, the pressure to maintain Stark Industries' position at the forefront of technological advancement, a constant driving force. Tony's genius was undeniable, but so was the scrutiny he faced from the board, the media, and the public. Every decision he made was under a microscope, and the stakes were always high. At first, Tony seemed content to let others handle the day-to-day operations of the company, preferring to focus on his inventions and indulging in a playboy lifestyle. His brilliance in engineering and design was matched only by his penchant for extravagance and adventure. The boardroom was a place of tedium for him, while the lab was his sanctuary. But the events that led to his capture and the subsequent creation of Iron Man forced him to confront the true cost of his family's legacy. Held captive by terrorists using his own weapons, Tony realized the darker side of his inventions. This harrowing experience was a catalyst for change, igniting a sense of responsibility he had previously ignored. Stark Industries, he realized, was more than just a business. It was a powerful tool, capable of both great good and terrible destruction. The realization that his creations could be used for harm as easily as for good was a sobering one. It was a moment of clarity that redefined his purpose and the direction of the company. This realization marked a turning point for Tony. No longer could he afford to be a detached observer, content to let his company's creations fall into the wrong hands. He understood that with great power came great responsibility, and he was determined to steer Stark Industries towards a more ethical and humanitarian path. He could no longer afford to be a detached observer, content to let his company's creations fall into the wrong hands. Tony began to take a more hands-on approach, involving himself in every aspect of the business. From the boardroom to the factory floor, his presence was felt, and his vision for a better future began to take shape. He took a more active role in Stark Industries, determined to use its resources for the betterment of humanity. Initiatives in clean energy, medical technology, and global security became the new focus. Tony's leadership inspired a cultural shift within the company, aligning its goals with the greater good. The weight of his inheritance became a mantle of responsibility, a call to action that would guide his decisions and shape the future of both Iron Man and Tony Stark. His journey from a carefree inventor to a responsible leader was marked by challenges and triumphs, but it was a path he embraced wholeheartedly. The legacy of Stark Industries was no longer just about innovation. It was about making a positive impact on the world. The world knew Tony Stark as a genius inventor, a daring industrialist, and a notorious playboy. His name was synonymous with cutting-edge technology and extravagant living. He was the face of Stark Industries, a company that revolutionized the tech world with its groundbreaking innovations. He was a fixture in the tabloids, his name synonymous with lavish parties and a carefree lifestyle. The media loved to capture his every move, from his high-profile relationships to his extravagant spending sprees. Tony seemed to revel in the attention, playing the role of the charming rogue to perfection. But beneath the surface of fast cars and glamorous companions lay a man wrestling with his own demons, haunted by the legacy of his father and the potential for his inventions to be used for destruction. The weight of his father's expectations and the moral implications of his work often kept him awake at night, driving him to seek solace in his workshop. The creation of Iron Man and the near-death experience that inspired it served as a wake-up call for Tony. Captured and forced to build a weapon of mass destruction, he instead created a suit of armor to escape his captors. This harrowing ordeal made him realize the true impact of his inventions and the responsibility he bore. He could no longer ignore the consequences of his actions, the potential for his technology to fall into the wrong hands. Determined to make a change, Tony began dismantling his company's weapons division, a bold move that shocked the world and marked the beginning of his transformation. The world needed more than just a brilliant inventor. It needed a protector, someone willing to stand up to those who would exploit and endanger others. Tony embraced this role, using his Iron Man suit to fight against those who threatened peace and security. Tony's transformation from playboy to philanthropist was not without its challenges. He faced skepticism and resistance from those who doubted his sincerity and questioned his motives. Yet, he persevered, driven by a newfound sense of purpose and a desire to make a positive impact on the world. He struggled with the weight of his newfound responsibility, the knowledge that his actions could have global consequences. Every decision he made was scrutinized, and the pressure to live up to his own ideals was immense. But Tony was determined to rise to the occasion, no matter the cost. Yet, he rose to the occasion, using his wealth and intellect to combat injustice and protect the innocent. He collaborated with scientists and humanitarian organizations, leveraging his resources to address some of the world's most pressing issues. He dedicated himself to making amends for past mistakes, using Stark Industries' resources to develop clean energy solutions and combat global threats. His efforts in renewable energy and environmental sustainability earned him respect and admiration, transforming his public image from a reckless playboy to a responsible innovator. The world watched as Tony Stark, once known for his self-indulgence, embraced a life of heroism, proving that even the most flawed individuals can rise to meet extraordinary challenges. His journey from a self-centered industrialist to a selfless hero inspired countless others, showing that true greatness lies not in one's past, but in one's ability to change and make a difference.